Another one that really blew me away was first person narrative is lazy writing.
Too much. Because when push comes to shove, girl, just trust I won't get sick of us.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Writing Diaries. I apologize for the state of my voice right now. I don't know what is like going on with my throat recently. I feel like it's just been like really dry and dusty as heck in my room. So today is going to be the start of a new writing vlog, and my goal, I guess, for this vlog is to finish Act 1 of Project Night, which is my new book, my new whip, which I started talking about in my last vlog. So yeah, I'm really excited to be approaching the end of Act 1. It was interesting because I was actually editing vlog 10 and it's so funny how happy I was to be like starting a new project. Now that I'm 28,000 words into the draft or so, I do think it's really solid. Like I think it's a really solid Act 1. I did have a generally easier time drafting it than I did drafting Project Moon, but the back half of the act was a lot harder to write than the first half of it, which I anticipated. Like usually like the very beginning of the book is the easiest part for me to write, and then as we start approaching the middle, that's when I start having issues. But all in all, it's been a really fun drafting process. I made it through a really tough chapter, and I just have to write 2 more chapters in this act, and then we're done. Act 1. The thing is though, I'm still not sure if I want this book to be young adult or not. Originally, when I was outlining it, I thought the premise made a really strong YA. Like it just seemed like something that would be like something that would appeal to a young adult audience. But once I got into the draft, like I was probably in chapter 1 or 2 when I realized that the characters, they feel like adults to me. I don't know what it was. I think it was because like I wrote Project Moon originally as a young adult, and then when I reread it, like after I finished the draft, I was like, these characters feel like adults. And then I felt the same way about my cast for Project Night for this new book. They were coming to me as like 20 somethings. I know like on paper it's like, okay, what's the big difference between an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old? And I would say there is a difference. I think thematically there's a difference. So I actually decided to write Project Night for now as an adult book with characters that are a little bit older. I just don't want to like have to worry so much about like, is this something that would work for YA or is this too dark for YA? I know that young adults can get pretty dark, but there is just like certain scenes that I was writing where I was like, if this was for a younger audience, I don't know if I could get away with describing something in this manner. Okay, sorry, I'm editing right now and I have no idea what the frick I was saying there. I think I was just referring to like YA subject matter and like the fine line between being a little bit too mature. Things like descriptions of violence and gore, which is like, it is kind of a part of this story. I think that's what I meant here. Honestly, I don't know. I like barely explained it. Anyways, on with the video. Yeah, as of right now, I'm writing Project Night as an adult book and I've been having a fun time. I do feel like when I like actually start reading my drafts, I'm like, I don't know if this would make a good YA because I'm a little bit more comfortable writing adult characters. Yeah, that could change. I am trying to like venture back into reading what's on trend in young adult right now because I am curious to see if Project Night really is a young adult book. I'm enjoying writing it as an adult, but I'm open to changing it in revision. Yeah, I just thought I would start this vlog today. It's about mid-August. I have the next few days off, so I'm going to be this weekend drafting as much as possible. It is actually my birthday weekend. Literally my birthday gift to myself is that I'm gonna spend the entire freaking weekend drafting. The chapter that I finished writing today took me almost a week to write actually, and it ended up being the longest chapter in the book so far. I think I might have to cut it down or split it up into 2 chapters. I don't know yet. We'll have to see. But I'm proud of how the chapter turned out because it was a really, really tough chapter, but I got through it, pretty happy with it. and the next 2 chapters that I'm writing are sort of like wind down chapters, just like push us into Act 2. So yeah, I will try to vlog as much of this process. Hopefully I'll be able to get through those last 2 chapters in this vlog. Hello, we've got coffee. We've got a completely free day and I'm gonna write for the entire day. That is my goal. And my motivation is pretty high right now, so I kind of want to capitalize on this. Is it still morning? No, it's not. It's almost 1 p.m. Yeah, I want to capitalize on this time and just spend the rest of the day writing as much as possible. I'm very excited. Hopefully I can get through a decent chunk of this chapter. Typically this is the kind of day where I, if it was like normal, if the world was normal, I would like sit in a coffee shop and write. But where I live right now, Starbucks and a lot of indoor dining places haven't opened up. It's kind of too hot to sit outside with a laptop, so unfortunately I can't get out of the house, which is what I used to do pretty often. Actually, I like never used to really work or write at home. I'm gonna get working and we'll see how much we can do in like the next hour or 2.
You my salty crush. I'm doing something different. Your name's been on my tongue. My cup's been looking fuller. You're picking apart my walls, and baby, let's settle up. Cause lately the world's been going crazy, and I gon' need somebody to talk. Saltine and ginger ale, that shit will never fail. I keep it tucked on my body cause I don't feel well. Girl, tell me something else. Saltine and ginger ale, that shit will never fail.
Honestly, if anyone ever asks me like what I ever want for anything, Indigo gift card for books. Thank you, Celine. You're welcome. My #1 bestie. Let's party.
Oh my god, you have to look at the card. There's a card.
Oh my god, oh my god, you made
Yeah,
this!
it's us.
That actually looks like us. Okay, it was a very fun day.
It was a fun day.
This is probably like the most social interaction I'm going to have for the next like 2 weeks. Well, yeah, I bought a lot of stuff. It's the most shopping I've done in like an entire year. Say bye to the vlog, Celine.
Bye vlog.
Okay, so I'm this close to finishing Act 1. Very exciting. The draft kind of like got a mind of its own at some point, like around the midpoint. Getting through the last like couple chapters of this act has been like a very fun time. Like I'm having a lot of fun. But when I actually started writing, I realized that there were some parts that were missing some context and backstory on certain characters. So I ended up like adding a few extra chapters into Act 1. And so the draft is currently sitting at just under 32,000 words. I think the chapters that I added in really important for me to write, like whether or not they stay in the final draft or in future revisions, I don't know, but I felt like I needed to write them in order to understand certain characters more. Those extra chapters actually turned out to be some of my favorite parts of the act so far. So yeah, I'm pretty much almost done this last chapter. I just have to like fill in a couple things, but like we're almost there. I see Act 2. She is the light at the end of the tunnel right now. So here is the pacemaker project for reference. We are 32% of the way through. I've been writing pretty regularly, but also sporadically, because you can see sort of the spikes on certain days. So yeah, overall the draft is going pretty well. I think Act 2 is gonna have some hiccups because that's when I'll have to see whether all of my mystery elements will play out nicely. But I feel like I can already see how much stronger this first draft is compared to Project Moon first draft. I feel like it's just the pacing of it is better. Also, I do acknowledge that like right now I'm like kind of in a honeymoon phase with this draft, so maybe I just can't see all of its flaws right now. Ignorance is bliss at the moment. It was also really interesting because I was actually reading over sci-fi book that I was writing last year, the book that I was working on before Project Moon. I can already see how much my writing has improved slash changed. Okay, this isn't writing related, or it's not manuscript related, but if you've kind of been like watching authortube recently, you've probably seen that unpopular opinions video that Kate Kavanaugh put out and that a lot of authortubers have been reacting to recently. When the video came out, I was also thinking of doing like a full video just reacting to it and like sharing my thoughts on some of the unpopular opinions, but I kind of decided against it because I think there were just like a lot of other people reacting to it and saying pretty much everything that I could say better. However, there were a few where I was like watching the video back the other day and I was like, it really did get me thinking how unpopular these opinions are, if this is like shared by a lot of people who are writers or who also watch authortube. I don't really know, especially some of the authortube specific ones. One authortube opinion was a lot of people enjoy making videos more than writing, and then also authortube is more about the aesthetic of writing than actual writing. This one really, I shouldn't say it surprised me because I can understand where people might feel that way. I can't really speak for all authortubers, and granted, I'm pretty new to this space, but for me, making videos and writing are like two very different things. And there is obviously on social media, there is going to be an emphasis on aesthetics on social media, but I don't think that necessarily means that you're somehow less passionate about your writing. Like for me, at the end of the day, writing is like my number one passion, and I don't think anything is ever gonna come close to that. On the topic, I guess, of like performative writing, which I think is what is really at the core of this sort of mindset, the writing vlogs and stuff and like all that kind of stuff that I do is 1% of the actual writing that I do when I'm not filming. There can be some stuff that is maybe, you know, toxic about if you're making it seem writing is like all sunshine and butterflies, but I think most writers already know that that's not true. And so I don't think that there's anything wrong with romanticizing it a little bit. What you see on authortube, it's only a small percentage of like the actual writing process that a lot of writers do. And I think just like being aware of that is important. Which other one? Okay, there were a few other ones that were kind of like, not everyone can indie publish well. That one I definitely agree with. I don't think that's necessarily even an unpopular opinion. Maybe these days because like indie publishing is becoming a lot more of a thing, self-publishing, etc. I think you definitely have to be writing in a certain genre, like certain genres that are more popular for indie publishing. You also have to just have a social media presence. And even as someone who has a social media presence, like it's not a very big one, but like I'm pretty comfortable on social media. Even I wouldn't say that indie publishing is for me either, because the idea of like book marketing, having all that onus on you is something that's like very stressful for me. And I know that like these days it's like author as brand has made it so that even if you are traditionally published, there is still onus on you to be a part of your own marketing, but I think it's a lot less on you because you have a publisher. With that said though, there are projects that I would be interested in indie publishing. Another one that really blew me away was first person narrative is lazy writing. I wish this person elaborated more on their opinion on this because I just don't know how you could, wow. Third person and first person and second person, they all have their purpose. They all tell different stories. They all have their own tone. In general, just because of the genres that I write in, I write more in third person, but I read some amazing first person, and the intimacy of first person is like a whole other beast within itself. Another one that was interesting to me was you shouldn't publish a book as YA if there are sex scenes. I'm kind of like conflicted on this one because in general, we shouldn't really stigmatize sex as much as it already is in our society. But at the same time, I do think that it depends. It depends on how you handle it. I do think the waters get a little bit murky when you start thinking about like what is gratuitous and what is inappropriate, especially involving minors. I'm probably not the best person to answer this because I don't have like a vast knowledge of young adults, but in general, that is one thing that has made me reconsider some of my projects that I thought were young adult. Oh my gosh, okay, so many big authortubers are white women in their 30s. That one also made me kind of sad because I do think that we're out here, non-white authortubers, like we're out here. We're probably just smaller channels and maybe people don't find us because of the algorithm. It's just, we might not be like as prominent channels, but I think if you dig deep enough into the community, you'll find more diverse voices.
Girl, just trust I won't get sick of us. You my salty crush. I'm doing something different. Your name's been on my tongue. My cup's been looking fuller. You're picking by my walls, and baby, let's settle up, cause lately the world.
Hello, okay, so I sat down to edit this vlog today and I realized that I never filmed an outro, so it's been like a week since I updated. I was gonna start filming vlog clips for the next vlog, for vlog number 12, and then I was like, wait a minute, I didn't even finish the last one. I can't remember what I said in my last update, but I finished Act 1. And I've been working on the first few chapters of Act 2 for the last week. My writing has slowed down considerably compared to the last couple weeks because, as I've said, I've started at a new job. I don't get to write during the day anymore. I'm kind of like falling into a new schedule now, and I can usually block out at least a couple hours every evening to do my writing. That's kind of when most of my writing is happening now, but I'm definitely not averaging the same word count every day that I used to, which is fine because I don't think it's the only way that we should measure our progress. But yeah, I've finished Act 1 and Act 2. She's definitely, it's not as easy writing Act 2, let's just say that, okay? Realizing that one issue that I have sometimes when I'm outlining is that, like, sometimes when it comes to especially things like passage of time or scene transitions or expository dialogue. I was talking about this with my brother. I was basically telling him that I was having some issues with a chapter, and he basically told me, like, if you're having issues with a scene, ask yourself if what you're writing actually even needs to be a scene. And I was like, wait a minute. And then I looked back at my chapter and I was like, you know what? Yeah. Whenever I'm struggling, oftentimes it does have to do with expository dialogue, and oftentimes it kind of doesn't need to be a scene. Or at least it doesn't need to be a full-fledged scene in the way that sometimes I think it needs to be when I'm outlining, and instead it can be a sentence or a paragraph. That can be a lot more efficient. But anyways, yeah, it took me a lot longer to get through some of these like early chapters, which is fine. Let's be kind to ourselves. I'm gonna end the vlog here. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.
Need somebody to talk. Saltine and ginger ale, that shit will never fail. I keep it tucked on my body cause I don't feel well. Girl, tell me something else.